Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I am your host today, Jared Timms. I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green, and also it's going to be a future Angels reliever. Right now, he's a minor league prospect for the Angels, Ryan Smith. Ryan, how you doing?
Good. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for jumping on with us, taking the time, talking with us. Now, again, we've gone through a bunch of players lately, but again, thank you just so much for taking the time. How's the offseason going, man?
Really good. Yeah, no, it was nice to get back home a little bit, spend time with family and friends, and work on my game a little bit. And now I'm out in Arizona, enjoying being out here in some nicer weather and getting to throw outside. I think once we get out here, it really feels like the season's close. So I'm definitely excited.
Absolutely. I know with the lockout going out and everything, it's tough, but I'm excited at least for minor league baseball at the moment.
Definitely.
So that is a very good thing. So Nate, I didn't forget about you. How you doing?
Doing good, of course. Just getting used to it with all these, with the takeover happening and getting all these minor leaguers on. It's been awesome. So
it's been
future
a lot of
major leaguers.
No, future major. Let's see. Ryan's coming on, or Ryan's on with us now. He's AAA. He's pushing towards the major league level. I know they're going to make it. We had Connor Higgins on, Zach Wise, who just signed with the Angels minor league deal, Brex Martinez. I mean, it's been a blast.
We've had Kenny too. Kenny
Rosenberg,
we're good.
AAA. I mean, it's just been a blast talking with everybody about their off seasons and such. So you're in Tempe right now, right? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah, I'm in Tempe. Yeah.
Sweet. What does a day look like out in Tempe right now for you guys?
Yeah. So came out here on Sunday. Days have been a little bit different each day, but most of the time, we have a decent amount of guys out here already. So pitchers will get to the field about 9:30, 10 o'clock, get some breakfast, kind of do all our prep work in the training room, in the weight room, getting ready to go out and throw. Everybody's thrown a bullpen so far. Do our normal throwing program beforehand, bands, plyo balls, all of it. Come back in, do conditioning, get a lift in, some arm care recovery type stuff, and get some food and on our way. So it's not quite as long as a normal spring training day. Since we don't have a full house yet and it's a little bit still early. So it's probably, in and out in 4 or 5 hours and get our work in. And, everybody's kind of excited to be out here and rearing to go.
Nicer weather for sure. I know you said you're from New York, so much nicer weather, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sweet. So I started this last time. I want to get some rapid fire questions going with you just to kind of get it going a little bit, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet. So best baseball movie of all time, or what's your favorite baseball movie?
Oh, my favorite baseball movie of all time. I feel like it's a super simple answer. Probably Sandlot.
Perfect. Hey, that's not a bad one. It probably is too, to be honest, depending on who you're talking to. So what seeds are you eating?
I'm partial to David seeds. I kind of like them all. I love ranch. I like those the sweet and spicy ones. If I go with a classic, I'll go low sodium. I feel like the original ones are just too much for me now, a little too powerful. So I kind of back it off and go with the low sodium ones. But I really like any of the flavors.
That's good. We did have a salt incident on the last one with Connor Higgins. He had a salt problem that was going on there. Yeah, definitely. What color Gatorade are you drinking?
I like blue. I kind of like them all except for red. I don't know why. I've always been kind of against the fruit punch Gatorade, but anything else I'm good with.
Perfect. Nate, he's on my side on this one. Fantastic.
Hey, Connor was on my side. It's all good.
Perfect. Last question here for you. Home jersey, away jersey, or alternate jerseys?
Wow. Is that just a
If you're starting, what are you picking?
If you're starting,
okay. It kind of depends on what team I'm playing for, what level I'm at, but I'm probably gonna go with the away jersey. I like a little color, a little flair. The home whites are always nice, but I kind of like having some different color on. So,
what was your favorite jersey you wore last year? Because I know you were
favorite jersey. I really liked. So we have the Hispanic heritage jerseys. So in Tri-Cities, we had the Viñeros de Tri-Cities. So we had a purple hat with a little Viñero on it, and then black mesh jerseys, and everybody kind of liked those because they were super light, where our other jerseys were kind of heavy, and we're playing in 110 degrees in the desert in Pasco. So everybody was kind of excited when we got to break those jerseys out. So I think that was probably the one that stood out.
That's sweet. So before I get on to the minor leagues, and I just said it, you were up, you went up from low A all the way to AAA last year. You grew up in New York. Were you a Yankee fan or Mets fan?
Mets fan.
But that's a little bit tough, I'd say. Tough growing up.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, growing up it was definitely tough. I don't know. I mean, it's not like the Yankees have been dominant recently, but definitely, growing up in elementary school and stuff, you always heard it from the Yankee fans. But I was a diehard Met fan growing up. I remember like sitting in front of the TV in 2006, I guess the NLCS, when Carlos Beltran struck out, looking on a curveball from Adam Wainwright, and I was like 9 years old at the time. So like that was right when I was like really really understanding baseball, and that was the first year I was like so into the Mets, and that heartbreak kind of lasted with me for a while. And then 2015, I guess it was my first year of college, World Series, lost the Royals. So those are two of the more memorable crushing defeats. But now I can be an Angels fan and root for World Series this year.
Exactly.
Favorite Mets player?
My favorite Mets player is probably David Wright, which is like super easy one. I like Johan Santana a lot, being a lefty pitcher.
I stepped on Jared's toes there.
I mean, kind of, I had everybody, depending on the year, kind of have my favorites. But Daniel Murphy I liked a lot.
Oh, okay.
Kind of depending on the guy.
Sweet. No, definitely. So on to the college days here. You went to Princeton, played 4 years there with the Tigers. I would assume you could have basically picked any school since you went to Princeton. And I've heard coming from somebody, and I'm not gonna say who it was. You're extremely smart, which plays into the game a lot. And you can be humble about it.
Yeah.
I mean, going to Princeton, you are extremely smart, and we know that. Was there any other schools you were looking at or talking to? Were you set on Princeton?
I lost you for a second there.
There we go.
Sorry. I just said, were you set on Princeton or was there other schools?
So my recruiting process was like a little bit late. Like I wasn't throwing crazy hard my sophomore, junior year of high school. So I definitely always cared a lot about academics and was putting the time into school, and was blessed that I was pretty good at school without having to do a ton early on. And I was looking like at a lot of like high academic D3 schools initially, just my sophomore, junior year, when I wasn't getting a ton of D1 offers. And I ended up going to the showcase, going like the August before my senior year of high school, before I'd committed. And it was like an academic type showcase, I guess. So a lot of like big academic schools there. And I remember throwing really, really well. It was like the hardest I'd ever thrown. And I went from having like no D1 offers to like 15 D1 offers in the span of a week. So I didn't even really get to visit everywhere. Like, I kind of picked the schools that I talked to the coaches and done my research on. Some that I just like visited as a student, kind of like hoping I'd get to baseball for someday. So Princeton was like one that stood out. I'd been there before. So I just, I went on maybe 4 or 5 visits, and it just like definitely stood out. I went on a beautiful day, saw the campus. Like the campus is amazing. And, it's you kind of hear the tour guide and all the amazing things it can throw at you. And it's like, it's hard to say no, So, and I couldn't be happier that I went. Like it was a great experience, but yeah, it wasn't like I was born, oh my gosh, I have to go here. It was just kind of like one of the schools that stood out, but I kind of knew I wanted to go to school in that niche.
Cool. Did you graduate from there? You walked?
Yes.
What'd you graduate with?
Economics.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Not too bad.
I didn't see what
Dismal
it was. That's
science,
awesome.
I guess, but not too bad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear that. It's always good to hear. I mean, a lot of guys don't graduate. I mean, they play there like 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is, and go. It's good to hear, you graduate and you have a backup plan just in case. So that's always good to hear that. So on to draft day. Back in 2019, you were taken in the 18th round by the Angels. What was that day like?
So it was actually the day after I graduated from college. So I remember, being a senior, I was hoping to possibly go in rounds 7 through 10 or whatever as a senior sign on day 2. So I remember sitting through my graduation ceremony, like with my phone on, because, a bunch of scouts had told me, hey, keep your phone on. I might call you throughout this day. So I was, hoping to get called that day, and super excited. Didn't get called, and moving all my stuff out, drove home. It's kind of my first day home. My parents were at work, my sisters were at school. So I was just kind of sitting on the couch by myself, like watching the draft tracker. So it wasn't like anything too exciting. Didn't have a watch party or anything, but, I saw my name pop up, and, that was kind of like, okay, what's next? Like, I'm ready to go. So it took, a couple of days later, they sent us the information, went out to Orem, and that was it. It wasn't some crazy ordeal, but, something I obviously was ecstatic about, and I, dreamed of for a long time and put a lot of work in for. So.
Yeah. And Orem, what was it like pitching to Orem, going straight to Orem, staying, not going to Arizona or anything like that?
Yeah, no, it was interesting because, I feel like most guys from most organizations and most guys in our organization will go and at least get a feel for the complex in Arizona and kind of meet a lot of people where, we got thrown into a little bit, and it was good. I was excited to kind of pitch right away. It was an adjustment to pro baseball. And I think one of the things like we find is like there's a big adjustment from college where you always have stuff to do, very busy, especially at Princeton, a lot of work, to like, wow, there's a lot of free time here in the mornings, and then I'm at the field from 1 to midnight, you know? So it was just kind of rearranging my day, getting used to later games, getting used to, being in a different time zone. Even especially the first year, like you simply don't know a lot of the guys, you know, I'd never played with none of my teammates from the past or anything. Whereas, you know, coming to years like now, it's like, these are some of my best friends out here. I'm excited to see everybody during spring training. So it's just an adjustment in terms of time change, living in a different place, new people, pitching the elevation is something I hadn't done before. So it was all kind of, a good learning experience. It was definitely cool first year pro ball, just getting to go straight out there and play.
Definitely, yeah. And we can fast forward to last season. Again, you started in low A with Inland Empire. You worked your way all the way up to triple A. Were you expecting to get promoted, all the way up like that? Or was it like, dang, like, I'm having a good season, like they're just going to keep rolling with it? Or
yeah, I mean, I definitely can't say I was expecting it.
Yeah.
That's something you hope for. I definitely, coming off the COVID year, I didn't exactly know what to expect. I knew I'd put a lot of time in, and you kind of lose that year. It's like, well, I wish I could have been in low A and high that year, and then starting this year in double A or something like that. Everybody's always thinking. No one really knew where they would go, and I knew basically everybody got a year older, and there were guys with experience ahead of me. So I was going to have to kind of prove myself, for lack of a better word. These guys had full seasons ahead of me, so I was hoping maybe to start the year in high or something like that. But went to IE, and I was kind of like, okay, well, I have to try to pitch my way out of here. And then I got to Tri-Cities, and I felt like, well, I should be able to stand out here too, and kind of trust my stuff. And it's like, why can't I try to pitch my way out of here? And it'd be great to finish the year in double A. And then getting to go to triple A for the last 5 weeks of the season was awesome and a great experience. So, I definitely didn't have any expectations. My goal would have been to pitch in the big leagues last year if I could have, so it wasn't like trying to limit myself. But just, constantly every outing as a pitcher, it's sometimes easier to move. If you strike out 27 guys in an outing back to back, you're probably going to move. Is that ever going to happen? Maybe not, but like you have the ability as a pitcher to go out there. If you strike out every hitter you're going to face the rest of your career, you're going to be a pretty good big leaguer. So, I think that's kind of the mentality I have, is like, if I wake up this morning and strike out everybody I see, I'll probably move and just kind of go from there. I've definitely haven't done that, the perfect game with strikeouts since like Little League, but I'm still hoping maybe I can be the first guy to do it in pro baseball. So that'd be cool.
You had a lot of strikeouts last year, and honestly, you shoved everywhere you went. I think I saw your first like 2 starts out in Inland Empire, and it was impressive. It was like, this guy's not going to be here long. He's going to be up in Tri-City, or he's going to go to double A, wherever that's going to be. So, pretty excited that you were able to do that for sure. Did you notice any like big differences from league to league?
League to league.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I think in IE, especially in the beginning of the year, not just for myself, but for everyone, they were, and against us, for us, there were just a ton of strikeouts in the games. I think pitchers kind of come into the year with a lot of adrenaline, and hitters hadn't, obviously guys were taking live at bats, but it's a little different just in the flow of the game. I think that like there were definitely a little bit more chase probably at the lower levels. I had success kind of just throwing fastballs at guys' eyes in low A, and that was helping me get some swings and misses, strikeouts early on. I think in high A, there's definitely more like college hitter approach. Some of the lineups, even like, we played Spokane, and I feel like a million times. Like their whole lineup was, experienced college guys that had played, 3 or 4 years of college baseball, whereas some of the guys in low A were more, international signs or high school draft picks or stuff like that. So guys, still building experience. So it was almost going to more of like a college style pitching, attacking slightly more experienced hitters, different approach. And double A was definitely a little bit of an adjustment. Guys definitely had, like, double A and triple A guys definitely had more control of the zone, which, I'm definitely comfortable in my ability to command, but like there was just less of getting chase out of the zone on pitches that I may have gotten before. So there's definitely an emphasis more on getting swing and miss in the zone. So I think I was able to make an adjustment with that after my first couple starts in double A. Like it wasn't something that I didn't have the ability to do. It was more just like having a different approach as a pitcher. And other than that, really just the different rule variances in every level were interesting last year. I got to experience all of them. So, like you can't step off in low A more than 2 times, 3 times, and like the pickoff moves in high A. So it was all a little different. But yeah, I mean, nothing crazy that stood out.
Yeah, and definitely didn't favor the lefty at all either. It felt like
Poor
Yeah,
guy.
no,
We-
definitely not.
we've definitely
I
talked
was
about.
very upset about that for you.
Yeah.
Being a
No, it was
lefty
definitely
myself.
a little bit frustrating, but
Yep.
I think maybe I picked off 3, 4, 5 guys maybe even last year, and I'm a weird one in the case that like my lift move is not very good, but I have like a quick like step off move,
Mhm.
step off with your back foot. So I got a few guys there because everybody's like, oh, this is exciting. It's really hard for the lefty to they can't step over and throw, so I can kind of get a huge lead. So I was able to get a couple guys like that. But yeah, it definitely was tough for some guys like Colton Ingram and Brent Killam. I know they have like really, really good lefty moves, and they got kind of held back a little bit with some of those rules. But I'm trying to pick up their lift move because it's crazy seeing some of the things they can do. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're talking to a lefty pitcher with the Angels hat on. You got righty pitcher here, so it's a little
there you
different.
go.
But yeah, Nate, I know you had some questions about stat on the stat side of things. So
Yeah.
fire away.
Well, first question, looking at it, Princeton came out of the bullpen your first 2 years, became a starter the last 2 years. Do you think that helped you? Because it looked like first year Orem, you came out of the bullpen. This last year, you got to start a little bit more. I think you started every game except for one. Do you think that had anything to help, or what did that look like for you?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely helped. I mean, I had experience doing everything. I guess growing up, I was mostly a starter in high school, and I'd relieved a little bit. Like I was a guy in high school that thought I could throw every day, so I'd like start the first game of the series and be begging the coach to like come and relieve 2 days later. And I got my way a couple times. I was able to do that, but so I was mostly starting in high school, and then I in college, like my freshman year, we had really good pitchers, and they were a lot better. Those were guys who were going to start. I mean, I barely threw my freshman year of college, and I definitely was not really ready. Like it was a good year of development for me, and I learned from a lot of guys who knew what they were doing. And then my sophomore year, I kind of got the experience of throwing out of the bullpen and back to backs, and since we played a lot of doubleheaders, sometimes 2 times in one day. And then I think it was good. Like I made the transition to starting my junior year of college, and my numbers definitely weren't great. I think some of them were skewed a little bit. I would go like 3 or 4 scoreless, and then second or third time around the batting order, kind of give some runs. So that was a huge learning experience for me from junior, senior years, like learning how to set guys up, get guys out second time around. I think that helped me a lot this year. Especially as I worked my way up a little bit, like I would try to save a pitch or two for the second time around the batting order. So that I think, and I know I can talk a lot. That was in a shorter answer to your question. Yes, I think that helped me.
This is great.
Because that was just a way that I learned to like save some pitches, and that kind of helped me a lot. Figuring out AA and stuff like that. So I think that'll help me more as I go in the future too.
You can't talk enough about pitching to me and Jared. Like,
Yeah,
that's good. No,
we
I
love
definitely,
pitching. We're both pitching. It's, oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
I'm definitely known as someone who can talk a lot, so I apologize if I'm ranting.
No,
I love it.
not at all.
It. Yeah.
And being the smart guy from Princeton, we heard how smart you were. What is your favorite stat? We know you got to be a big stat guy.
My favorite stat. Interesting. Okay. I'll try to come up with a good one. I don't know. I'm definitely, and it's not like these are some like crazy out there stats. I definitely like fielding independent pitching, expected fielding independent pitching, stuff like that. Cause like it's easy. I feel like every pitcher will tell you their ERA should be lower than it is. Like, oh, I got screwed on this call, or I got screwed by this fielder not going after the ball. So, I mean, at least some of those, like sometimes you'll get the confirmation bias of like, oh, I deserve this here.
Yeah.
Then again, if it goes against you and you're having a lucky ERA compared to that, then it's a little bit like, okay, never mind, forget about that. That's not real. But no, I don't know if I have any like favorite one. I definitely, I try to look, and like these aren't necessarily maybe stats that fans are looking at, but I do like looking at some of the data we have just in terms of like hitters chase rates and certain counts against certain pitches, or more so really like self-scouting, like looking what I do. I noticed last year after my first couple starts in AA, like I was like, I really feel like every time I'm throwing fastballs, I miss down and into a righty. That's where the damage is being done. Cause like I'm not staying behind the ball. My spin's down, my vertical breakdown, all this stuff. And it was nice, like seeing that. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Now I like have tangible evidence of why I really need to avoid going down and in. And then I had a lot more success going up and in, down and away, up and away, all that kind of stuff. So, I like being able to look at like the different hot zones on different pitches, my different pitch percentages and stuff like that. So like those aren't necessarily stats, but for me, they're cool in terms of like I can, get a little bit better, at least know what works for me, what doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Speaking of all that stuff, Rapsodo's got to be like your favorite tool. You've got to be using that every single bullpen. Is that
Yeah,
up
so
every single day?
So I definitely am into all of it. I've spent a lot of time learning how to read the TrackMan Rapsodo, what it all really means, but I'm probably not like the biggest, like, oh my gosh, I need every pitch on there. Like, there's a lot of times during the off season that I turn off the Rapsodo and throw my bullpen. And like, I think there is like some walking the line between like not just being like hyper focused on the numbers. Like, I think I'm very competitive, and like sometimes I get frustrated with guys that'll work out with or guys I play with that like they're not pitching to like win in the games or like, showcase pitchers where it's like, okay, well,
Yes.
I can throw my fastball at 2,600 RPMs and 98 miles an hour, but like then sometimes those guys don't in the
But you're also
game, like
getting
they're having
hit
less
and
they're having less
giving
fun
lit.
like trying to pitch as opposed to like they're just trying to put up the numbers. So I think like I don't know, I don't want to get into the habit of that. Like I want to I don't know, like keep the competitive edge there and like, okay, at the end of the day, like getting the out is more important, but then also obviously the way to get outs is by having, better pitches. So yeah, I like kind of have a nuance back and forth of when I like to use it, when I don't like to use it. And, there's certain pitches that like, for example, like my slider, it is like a unique pitch. So like early on in my career is kind of like, oh, that grade's a little on the TrackMan because the spin efficiency is like kind of not like kind of in the middle and it's pretty slow. But now it's like, oh wait, well now we care more about horizontal break. So it's in a really, really high percentile for horizontal break. So it just kind of depends. Like you can convince yourself every pitch is good or bad depending on the TrackMan Rapsodo sometimes. So it kind of depends what you're looking for and what you're trying to do. So yeah, I like it, but in waves.
I definitely feel like that's a route that the Angels have taken. I mean, Joe Maddon's mentioned it. I think Perry's mentioned it in a sense where like you can fully go on the analytical side, like the Trevor Bauer side of things, or you can like fully go on like the old school side of things. But like you got to find that happy median, I think.
Right.
And I think like you're like right in that area. So we say that a lot too. Like there's got to be a happy median between analytics and old school baseball. There's got to be something that people can find. So I like that. Definitely. I like that you're right in the middle of that. So one last question for you before we let you go. What does 2022 look like for you when it comes to success?
For success, I mean, this is a super cliche answer, but I want to enjoy playing. It's with COVID and even with the lockout and everything, it's like easy to see how quickly, you can not have baseball. And throughout like a long season, it definitely can sometimes be like, okay, well, back to the field today, especially as a starting pitcher where it's like 4 of the games in a row, you're not going to pitch. But I think for whatever reason, certain times throughout the offseason, throughout the season, anytime, sometimes just seeing a kid coming to watch the game in the stands, it kind of like makes you realize, hey, this is what I wanted to be doing as a kid, and this is my dream, this is my goal. So first and foremost, just kind of like enjoy the time to field every day. And then my goal definitely is to make the big leagues this year. That's been my goal my whole life. That's why I'm playing. I mean, I obviously want to enjoy minor league baseball, but like no one likes playing minor league baseball. Everybody's goal is to make the big leagues, right? So like, I want to be happy every day, but I definitely want to be content. And, I don't think the year's a failure if I don't make it, but I want to go out there and give myself every chance I can. A goal that probably 60% chance or 70% chance will be ended on the first batter I face this season, but my goal is to strike every batter I face out. So maybe if I can strike out the first guy, who knows, if I get the second guy, then I'll be thinking, well, this could last all year. It's only 150 games. So, so those are my goals, and just to, be a good teammate and, try to represent myself and my family and everyone well. So, just whatever, nothing, I don't have like, oh, I need this ERA or this amount of strikeouts or anything like that. More so, doing whatever I can to make the big leagues and represent myself well.
Absolutely. I like that. Very humble. And everybody is, and that we've talked to about that. So, and when it comes to the strikeout thing, I think 153 strikeouts last year, second in the Angels organization for the minor leagues. That's not too shabby. It's pretty close.
I know. I gotta catch Davis this year. Davis and I are sharing a room in the spring training apartment, and he got to face I'm gonna put an asterisk there. He got to face Tacoma's pitchers hitting for the last series of the year last year since he threw the last game. So 2 or 3 of those strikeouts were against pitchers. So I don't know. We got a little asterisk there. So I remind Davis of that every once in a while. So
I was watching it back and forth last year. I was like, it's gonna either be Davis or Ryan Daniel who's it gonna be? And like he had you by like 1 or 2 strikeouts or something.
Yeah, I think he had one more at the end of the year. Yep. He went up back for the 7th, and the pitcher came up with like the bases loaded, I think, and I was like, oh, there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a guy. So, all right. Hey man, we appreciate you here talking Halos, jumping on, talking some baseball with us.
Yeah. Awesome. It was nice meeting you guys.
Yeah. Nice meeting you as well. Good luck. Good luck this next year. I know you're going to be, doing fantastic things. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to Talking Halos, and have a great rest of your day.